Mr. Ryan Lundquist, Rockstar Appraiser. Everybody give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you so much. And I did have to strip down. If I get any hotter, I'm gonna have to go further. That'll get really uncomfortable for everyone. So, but it's good to see everyone. And today we have a workshop here. How do I bring up the PowerPoint on the screen?
You guys want to scan it? Because then I have to unplug it and plug it into yours.
Okay, so that'll come up. Oops.
Go ahead, scan that URL, guys, if you're going to be working along on your computers.
Oh, then does my presentation can show too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was that?
I'm waiting for everyone to just scan.
It's a downloadable document. You guys
Yeah, it's an Excel spreadsheet. Today, we're not talking about the market. There's no memes. I might have a few dad jokes, maybe, but this is like hardcore. Like, we're going to open up MLS and figure out how do we play around with some data. Okay, it's all about the data. And I think that if I'm not meaning any critique at all, but I just feel like the real estate community has so much potential to share data and maybe more interesting ways. Have you ever noticed it seems like a lot of people online are just regurgitating what the other person did? You know, and I feel like let's start to seize neighborhood data and tell the story in a way that is unique and original, and you be the person that others copy. Okay, and so hey, there we go. Perfect. Do we have, well, I don't really need a clicker. So if you don't have the Excel file, it's at the link that was scanned, or it's at this link right here. Here's a shortened link. If you don't have a laptop today, I apologize. You know, I didn't forget it. No, I'm just kidding. No. So you can still get something out of this. You're gonna have to maybe write down some things. But in my experience, I think a class like this, it's sort of one of those things you can attend and then you never do anything with. Has anyone ever been to a class like that?
Yeah.
Or you're like, that was wonderful, the 3-day retreat, and then I did nothing, you know? So about like, I want to give you a tool. We're gonna so so this is exporting data from MLS. I say the goal is to learn how to create a custom export in MLS to help look at data differently. Okay. Does anyone have custom exports? Okay, cool. And I'd say please be patient. Is anyone an Excel expert here? I find that sometimes it's like herding cats when we're talking together and one person's like, how do I open up my computer? Then another person's like, I'm a scientist. And let's just all be gracious to each other. I don't know Google Sheets very well. If you're using Google, I find that when I teach this, usually someone else will be like, I really know what I'm doing there. I can cut and paste for you. And so we're going to collaborate together. Or numbers. The goal is to leave with some tools you can actually use. Okay, so what I want you to do is to go ahead and open up MLS. I do, actually. That would be great. And can this show on there though? It was what you're doing by opening MLS, what we just did by downloading this. No, we're gonna deal with that later, but we're gonna open up MLS, maybe.
Almost. ACs are a little more admin plus the next word.
By the way, one good news about the market this year, we've seen more sellers. Has anyone noticed more listings? Yeah, so a little bit more sellers. Actually, I'd say a good way to describe the market, sellers have come back more than buyers. And so lots of opportunity ahead. Anyone have a condo listing right now? Condos are kind of getting a little beat up, aren't they? So
Yeah.
Okay, hey, here we go. Perfect. Okay, so what I want you to do is to go in MLS and go under admin and then scroll down to custom export setup. Are we all there? Say good. Yes. Okay. Admin custom export setup. Click that. And then go ahead and go to create export. And if I'm going too fast, let me know. But otherwise, just if you're tracking with me, be like, yes, I'm there. Awesome. Marguerite's like, yes. Okay, create export and call it whatever you want. You know, Johnny is hot. That's what I'm going to call it. No. So super custom. I can't type on a laptop.
Brian Lundquist.
From Brian. There it is.
And then save. And then what we're gonna do is we're basically we're gonna tell MLS, we want this type of information, okay? Okay, I don't know, this just came up here, didn't it? What happened to my, there we go.
Did you just type the name or
Okay.
fill any other fields too?
Yeah, wait.
So is everyone here? When you
Yes.
click save after the name, this should pop up.
Say, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What's, what we trying to-
So what we're trying to do is set up, we're gonna tell MLS, we want to see these 12 things or so. And then every time I go to a neighborhood, I can export that information and then all of a sudden be like, what's happening exactly with multiple offers? What's happening with, properties selling above or below the list price?
How many are cash, how many are conventional?
How many are cash and conventional? There's some cool stuff that I want to show you. And so it'll help automate the process for us. So is everyone at this screen? Okay, so do you see how you basically click on what, you can click on one thing and go to add? But what I want you to do, I want you to find this specific list in this specific order, okay? And so find where it says address full, click on address and then go to add. And then the next one, you find close date and then add that, and you want to be in that exact order. Okay.
If you do Command F, you can search.
And if you're super techie like that, you can search or just go down it. Hopefully it's in alphabetical order. And if you need help, just say something. That's no problem. I'm here to help. I know a lot of other people are here to help. And there's some people who are like, man, I attended the wrong meeting and I don't have a laptop and I'm gonna be bored out of my mind. That's okay. And then just hug someone or just don't make it awkward. But
Hey, Johnny,
Yo.
I said, Johnny, is this being recorded?
okay. But yeah, and if it's not, if you don't have a laptop here, take a photo of this and you could set up the custom export in your MLS and do what I'm gonna show you. Okay. So, yeah.
Are you doing CDOM because a lot of agents like expire and then put it back on?
CDOM is the only stat I pay attention to, because it's the real stat. How long has a property been on the market? I want to know CDM. I don't want to know just DOM. I want to know, like, was it on the market previously? It expired, then it's on again. And so I feel like that's the most accurate stat, in my mind. Yes.
I'm not finding number of offers. Am I the only one?
If you do Control F, it will pop up the search box for you.
You guys all know
Yeah.
the difference between
Amanda?
CDOM and DOM?
Yes.
No?
Yeah. Continuously.
Okay, you're new. So C is cumulative days on market and DOM
It's
is
not.
days on market. So if an agent has a house on a market for 30 days, then pulls it back off and puts it back on, they're trying to show it in a new listing. That's what the C is.
Oh,
Yeah. So I like to see because it really captures how long has it really been on there. So
But if you take it off for 30 days, it doesn't show the
Yeah,
CDOM.
then that's
right?
fine. Yeah. And that's where we have to operate within MLS rules, and you take it off for a certain amount of time, then
Well, then
the days start ticking up again,
Well,
you
then
know,
you lose the DOM, right?
maybe so, yeah. But, a lot of stuff will expire now, relist in February, and that's fine. It shouldn't keep adding on to whatever it was listed now.
So
So is
Could
everyone,
we-
is everyone there? Is anyone?
Could we
struggling with
enlarge
help?
the list or read it or something for online
Yeah.
people,
Get
please?
the list, and then I think there's a save button. You want to save it, and it'll be Johnny is hot or whatever you called it. And then we're gonna have some fun.
This is so cool.
Is setting up a custom export, is that new to anyone here?
Brand new.
Good. Here's the thing, we spent like, how much of our life do we spend on MLS, right? And then I feel like there's so much power there, but we're not often tapping into it. Because we get taught like, here's how I pull comps and that's it. But it's like, let's add some skills to our bag of tricks. We're gonna put some skills or some, little compartments on our Batman utility belt. So is everyone good? Yeah. Is everyone still working on it? You finding
Yeah.
stuff?
Two more.
You guys, are you?
Ryan, when I pulled up CDOM, it's DOM/CDOM. That's the same thing, or is there actually?
That's a better one, probably.
There should be one that says just CDOM, but maybe they changed it.
Might have added already.
DOM/CDOM.
It's a different one.
No, that's a different one. It should
That
be,
is different?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly what it says here, okay? Only CDOM, not the other one that says DOM, CDOM.
Last one is square footage.
MLS did take out the concessions amount field. That one was so awesome. I hope that they add it back in. A group of appraisers has asked MLS. I think we've given them some ideas for like, hey, here's how we can abide by the NAR lawsuit and also have this information. I think that it's highly possible. We'll see if they can revisit that in 2025.
That's really beneficial.
Oh,
Yeah.
we all need it.
Yes.
Some people are like
Put it all-
concessions amount field. Yeah. But that was super powerful in something like this, where you could pull up a neighborhood and see dollar amounts. Like, it was awesome. It's really unfortunate that that's gone, but it's the nature of the beast. Hopefully they can revisit that though. So how are we doing? Are we all done? Are we still working on it?
So
Are we-
after you hit save?
Yeah, after clicking hit save. Okay, everyone good? Everyone's saved? Okay, fantastic. Let's pull up MLS. And what you've done, let's go ahead and go to let's go to map search. And let's go to the Arden Manor neighborhood. How would we get there? Let's see. I don't know if we can type in Arden Manor. Yeah, let's just type that in.
Search interactive.
Yeah, so go to the map search. And you can type in Arden Manor in the little bar, or you can type in an address. If you need an address to pull up, type in 3127. No, that one's too hard. Let's go. Okay, I'm sorry. Do you all not use the map search? Okay, friends. Oh, that's okay. We'll get to that. So, okay, friends. The map search is awesome. It is so helpful sometimes when you're using a map search and you can see that, oh, wow, there's a difference on when I cross this street versus that one, and you can see value. Okay. What I want you to walk away with today is forget the standard search, forget searching by zip codes. We want to hone in on the map and neighborhoods. So I'm sorry for going fast on that. So I'm like a wild cat too. You got to like hone me in. So so go to search on the top and then go to interactive map. Okay. And then we're going to type in an address. Let's just type in this address to get to where we want to go. 1343 Jonas. Okay. Because we're going to draw some boundaries around a neighborhood right now. And so you see that and you scroll down and click on that right there. 1343 Jonas.
Actually,
Yeah.
Ryan,
It should be Sacramento. Yes.
I feel like you changed your filters to like just active and closed or what?
Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's worry about filters later. It doesn't matter right now. We're gonna do just close though. And so what we want to do though is actually I'm going to go to search criteria. I'm going to take everything off just so it's easier to draw. Search criteria, and let's just unclick everything. So type in 1343 Jonas, and it should come up. There's no radius. I personally don't do radius searches just because there's never a neighborhood that's the shape of a half mile. And right here, if I do this, I'm going to get Arden Park, which has way different values. And so what we're going to do is draw neighborhood boundaries. Is everyone used to that? Or if you, yeah. If you haven't used the map search, here is the awesome tool. Okay. And so what you might need to do is just to, come on, close that sucker.
Arden and Watt.
Yeah, it's basically on Arden Way and Watt. There we go. I'm not very good with working on a laptop, so you have to kind of work with me on this. I'm a desktop guy. So let's do this. We're going to draw boundaries.
And how to
Get right down there. Okay, so click on where it says draw. And there's different tools. You can choose a radius for the circle. You can freeform with the pencil, a square. I'm going to pick this polygon tool right here. I click on that. And then I'm basically going to click and try to draw boundaries around this particular neighborhood. Okay.
withdraw.
We're going to get up there. We're going to get up there. And then I think we have a little bit of space right here. So let's just try to get that. It's okay if you're not perfect. Don't worry about it. So try to make your boundaries look somewhat like that. Okay. And get in there. Let me see. And I'm just going to put my status. Let me see. Come on. Why is that not working? Okay.
Did you go down Watt to Northrop?
Yeah, I go down to Watt to Northrop. and then overwards to Morse, and there's that little section right there. I guess I could have picked like a perfectly square area, but at least I'm not like trying to draw Sun City or something like where there's a lot. So,
Brian.
yes.
It's distracting.
Okay, so what I would do, we've done, right here. We've done. Okay, and then go to search criteria.
You
And
can
then
left
unclick
up,
everything
you lift up,
here.
and then slice it split. We'll lose that
That's-
slide.
Okay, so just click close there.
Right there.
Because then
Just
if
in that
anything
one,
comes
the
up,
right
there will be
one?
like 2 or 3. And so it's really distracting for me too,
Yeah.
sometimes like that. So,
Right here.
okay. How's everybody doing? Does anyone need
Can I
help?
delete that?
And please, if you see someone next to you that isn't as good as you as a map search, please like jump in there. We gotta help each other. Yeah.
I'm gonna try to read all of that.
What's that?
Let's go.
Okay, I haven't seen this. You wanna do it yourself?
Okay. all the stuff on it.
Yeah.
So.
Why do you have this drawing?
Click here in a minute. That is part, oh, that's part. So, okay. These are-
Gotta go all the way down.
Hey, they're kind of-
Interesting stuff, huh?
I never.
This is a tough first one, but
Actually, it's one that I like because MLS has confused me for so long.
Okay, how's everybody else doing? Does anyone need
I'm
help?
actually really excited about it, to tell you the truth. I've used the basic functions for MLS to get what I needed,
me too.
but I knew that there was a better way of doing things, so.
I've been trying to get him to do this for like maybe 18 months.
Yeah.
I never knew about the, whatever we're making the customer reports. I always manually find that stuff.
Oh, you didn't use the map?
No, I use the map, but the other thing that.
Oh, the general parameters, yes.
What?
The parameters he gave us earlier, the
Oh.
12 things.
Yeah.
I never
And then
created a
if you
custom.
check
report for myself.
I've had to do it for like service providers, for like leads and stuff. I've never done it for like the client.
Like, I.
Okay, we doing good? We doing good?
So then-
Does anyone need any help?
Yeah, my.
Does your neighbor need help? Please like jump in. Realtors are so helpful. That's what makes you guys gold, right? And that's Century 21. Wrong crowd. Gold is, everyone's gold, so, okay, how are we doing here?
Not drawn.
Okay, so.
I do this all the time. I don't know what's going on.
That's not like that. That's probably the problem. The drop is. And then-
Yeah. Like here, right?
Oh, yeah, so.
Oh, yes, double line, I can stretch it off.
That's why there's like. stuff.
And then click down, just click once and then pull it. And then you actually need to.
He's just doing this, remember?
Yes. If you're not going down. Let's zoom out a little bit more.
It's on random.
There we go. And then why don't you try that again for the drop? Click that. Any more throw?
Then I stop it.
No, but you're below it, cannot be below. You gotta be precise. Okay, there, and good.
Oh, and there's not.
No.
It's okay.
There we go. You can't do it on your phone. Right.
You see how there?
Right, here.
I'm good, just straight up. Like straight up. Okay, I think you're maybe right clicking and instead of your screen, that's probably the problem. Okay, and then you just click in there one time to close it. You click in the box. Boom, there we go.
All right.
Okay.
So my suggestion would be just to continue rolling, because we're gonna record it. make a
Oh,
motion.
I know, but like if no one gets this, Okay, is everyone good? Does anyone need any help? Everyone good? And remember, guys, let's help each other. Ask your neighbors, ask your neighbors.
So, you good?
You good? You good? Got it? Okay.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so say you have a listing in Arden Manor and you want to communicate market expertise to a seller. Well, we created a custom export and able to share certain information. Okay. And so what we want to do is now select our search criteria. And so I would go down here and I only want to see single family detached homes. There's really nothing else in the neighborhood. Maybe there's some duplexes, I don't know, but we're going to go down and click on property subtype and click on single family residence. Okay. We're in control of the data. If we put in junk or if we put in a bunch of stuff and then we don't get good results, it like kind of comes back to us. So we've got to figure out like, what story do I want to tell? So single family residence. Okay. And then we want to go to status dates. And what I want to do is I only want to look at sales. Okay. And so it looks like if I just click on that box, it shows the past 6 months automatically. And so I say it only brings up 24. So that's probably a good amount to look at. What we don't want to do is be like, I'm going to look at, 14 years of sales and just gets like, that's not going to be helpful. Okay. So is everyone there? Is everyone clicked? Okay. So here's the cool part. Then we go up to export and you have different options. There's a bunch of built-in exports, but the one that you made, you've got to find that. You got to scroll down below. And I have mine. I made mine before. It's called Made for More Quick Data Export. You called yours Johnny is Sexy or whatever one that you did. You got to make sure that that's selected. Is everyone there? Okay.
Wait, where?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. And remember, if you're around someone and you know what's going on, please feel free to jump in there. And we all want to help you set up. So use Arden Manor. So which one?
Okay.
Only everyone had the same computer. I will. Yeah, tablet.
Okay, is everyone there? Is everyone there? And whatever you called it is different than mine. Are we good? Are we good? Are we not good? I don't want to leave anyone behind. We are not hitting CMA. So, okay. So I selected closed sales for the past 6 months. Okay. And then what I'm going to do now is export data. So do you see the export on the navigation bar? Okay, click that. And you have a bunch of different options to select from. And one of the options is going to be whatever you named the custom export that we did. Okay. So we go down. I called mine the Made for More Quick Data Export. I don't know what you called yours, but you do that and you push submit. Is there water? Because I'm dying here.
Here you go.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So you push submit and then you have this right here. It brings up a file of these 24 properties and it's going to tell us the specific things that we set up. CDOM, multiple offers, all that stuff. You click on that and it should open up an Excel file that you might have to click. Your computer might download it. Like you're going to have to figure out where is it on my computer. Hopefully it just opens right up. I don't know what's going on JJ's laptop. Yes. So mine opened up and it looked like this. Is everyone there? Did it open up something?
Yes.
Woo. Okay, we're cooking. We're cooking. Okay, so here's the power in this neighborhood right now. I want to teach you just a few tricks. I want to show you. You can even make a few visuals if you want. I want you to be able to use this stuff on your social media. And I want you to sound like a rock star when you interact with a seller in this neighborhood, and nobody else is going to show up with this stuff. They're going to bring national stats or some fancy CMA that maybe tells you something, maybe doesn't, but it's 12 pages. You know what I'm saying? And so we're going to look at this. Let's look at the number of offers. And when you scroll down, what do you notice about the number of offers over the past 6 months?
1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, now let's do this. Let me teach you an Excel trick. Click on where it says F. Okay. And then you can go up here where it says data. You click on F, go to data. And then it says, see where it says sort? Okay, we're going to click either A to Z from, lowest to highest or not, but we're going to click A to Z. And I want to be sure it says expand the selection, because what that will do, that's going to change every single column. Here's what it does. I changed it from least to greatest, but it changed every other corresponding column. Okay. And so what do we notice about the number of offers? You would say that there's 24 sales here. How many are getting one?
A lot.
A lot.
You're busier in the summer.
Okay, so would that be a powerful point of data? We did this simple export and we're, dear seller, what can you expect in the market? The seller's like, there's one at 13. I'm going to get 13. And you go, that's an outlier. But look, almost all of them have one. Okay. What do we notice about QDOM or CDOM over the past 6 months? Let's click on E. And why don't we sort that? Click on E and then go to data and then go to sort. Is it letting you do that? And if you're stuck, please say something. You're going to be left behind. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
want you to be
sorry.
left behind. Everyone's going on this vacation.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, you know what's going on?
What about sort? Yeah, sort of-
Sort ascending.
Oh, so-
Oh, yeah, okay, it did it. Okay.
What are we doing now?
Okay, so you're in, so. Click on this column.
And so just make sure if it's one column that you're sorting, okay? Yeah. So what do we notice? And is everyone there?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna sort. We're gonna make some graphs. Like, guys, this is gonna be freaking cool. Okay, welcome to your new addiction. Seriously. So what do you notice about days on market? Okay, it looks like about 12 days or fewer. That's almost half are in 2 weeks, but otherwise kind of taking a bit of time. Now let's do this. Let's get some averages. Let me select the top. Let's see, put your mouse. Let me see. How can I?
Like the whole row, like how you're sorting them.
I'm just,
From 2 to 80.
yeah, we're going to select from 2 down to 25. You hold the mouse down and then drag it down. And then let's just see what the average is.
It shows at the bottom of the screen, 40.5.
Oh,
At the
wait,
very
does-
bottom, it says how many are there.
Oh
average.
gosh, it already shows. Excel
Yeah.
did that. Let me show you how you do this manually though. You go to formula and then you can go to this one.
To there.
You go to formula and then you can go to average and then see how it says 40.5 at the bottom.
Where's-
Okay, so you select everything.
Like some sign of their
You
second one.
Yeah, see how it says formula, and then you can go click on that little down thing, and then you can go average, count numbers, max, minimum. You can go to average.
Google Sheets.
Oops. Okay, so if it's in Google Sheets,
Look for the one that says offers. No, it says offers.
You can
Right click 40.5.
select the selection, right
What?
click it.
What is that?
It's the average cumulative days on market.
Of all those
Of all those
properties.
properties.
okay, so
What does that
if
mean?
you were planning on an Instagram reel or you're pushing out a stat, you could say, I'm your expert in art and manner. On average, properties have taken 40 days to get into contract. The fastest one was 2 days. Okay. The
Wow.
longest one was 181 days. And you've just dropped a knowledge bomb. Imagine if you did that in Roseville, like something that could be interesting. And you could say like, look, and here's the characteristics. If you want to sell, if the seller says, I want to sell in 2 weeks, you have some data here. Well, what did it take? You know, and let's
By the
do
way,
this.
How's that? Functions instead of form.
Yeah.
Are those CDOM, are those weeks or days?
Days. So let's do this. Let's click on B. That's the close date. And I want to sort that. Let's go to sort, but let's sort it from Z to A. I want to get the most recent dates first. Okay, is everyone there? All right, so then we start to look at the most recent stuff. How many offers? 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. In different neighborhoods, we might see different things, but it's like for that seller to get hung up on that one lucky number 13,
Yeah.
we want to say, hey, look, lately, here's the dynamic,
Yep.
right? Is that powerful?
Yeah.
But we could look also, let's look at, okay, let's look at buyer financing. Oh, yeah. Because here's where the seller's like, we're gonna get a cash buyer from the Bay Area. And you do this in any neighborhood. And so click on sort, let's sort that data. We're all getting to be experts here. And let's sort that. And then you tell me what is going on with cash and conventional, like who is buying in this neighborhood?
Yeah, people's loans. You know,
Yeah.
I was doing this manually all these years.
Yeah, this is going to be very powerful. This is like we're scraping the surface. There are some cool stuff you can do, but can we see how real quick, if you did a snippet on art and manner, you're not trying to write a dissertation or impress someone, but you're just saying, hey, look, there's been like almost about 10% of sales are cash. Expect this is a finance neighborhood right here. Whether that's investors using finances or buyers, okay? In some neighborhoods, we have this category of pool, and it's not relevant here. Look, at all, literally. But in some neighborhoods, you might be able to line up data and be like, oh, wow, the properties with the pools, there's a difference with days on market.
Yep.
They're moving fast, okay? Or in the winter, maybe they're not. And so we can let the data speak to us, okay? But what I want to do, let's go to column O, go to O2 right here. And let's do some quick math. And let's talk about your paycheck. When are you going to get paid? Okay, so I want to do a formula here, and we're going to type in an Excel formula, and I want to do some math on days on market. So we'll go equal, and then I want to go to days on market. Where's days on market? Okay, days on market is E, so we'll go equal E2, and we're going to ask it to E2 plus. And I want to look at days in escrow, which is J2. Okay, because can everyone get that formula?
Yeah.
And when you get that formula, push return.
Oh, yeah.
Does everyone have that formula? If you don't, please speak up. I don't want you to left behind. No man or woman left behind. No child. No whatever you identify as. Like we're like. Okay. Okay. Are we good? Is everyone good? Okay, if it says error, then go back and then maybe something wasn't typed right. What I want you to type is just in O2, I want you to type in equals E2 plus J2.
You can
I'm
just
sorry.
click the cell and hit the blood sign and click the other cell.
Yeah, in O2 right here, we're typing in a formula. And what I'm telling Excel is like, I want you to add
I2.
what's in this
O2
column
and I2.
with that column. Okay, we're gonna add those together.
What's D?
Okay, so it's equals and please, friends, if you're right next to someone, help them, feel free, like let's step up. What I love about realtors is.
So people on days on market.
Got it.
It's okay.
700.
They did get rearranged a little. It's because I know 67, mine's 66.
First it was on market for 70.
Mine is 16 plus 70.
Everyone there? Everyone there?
Yeah.
E and J,
And average
no,
days to
I
pay.
15 and 36.
I know, right?
Oh, it's because of,
Did you? Okay, see, it's not gonna.
Right.
do that. Do it. Because you can't add whatever- Oh, sorry.
Oh,
right, because we were doing the sports.
Okay, just take-
yeah.
All it's doing is just take.
We're getting the.
Yeah,
Got it.
so, okay, so then we push return. Is everyone there? Is everyone there? I just want to be sure.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
One cell plus.
okay. So now it should add whatever's in that column. I realize some people's columns might be sorted differently. That's okay. But what we want to do is if you click right in that column, you can drag, see this little like box right there.
Yep.
We drag it down. When we drag that down, it does all the math in every single column. And so what that does, it's doing all the math right there and right there. Does that make sense? Is everyone there? Is everyone there? Everyone's there good? Okay, so how long, actually, now that we highlighted this, let's highlight it and let's figure out the average. How long is it taking from the time you list to when you're actually closed?
Oh, we're gonna do that. That's all.
Oops. Okay, that didn't work, so.
69.708.
Okay, and some people might have slightly different answers because remember, we drew our boundaries and like whenever we draw boundaries, like, man, we got to be precise, make sure that it includes the neighborhood. But you see how like this isn't amazing, but do we want to communicate to sellers like here's what's happening in the neighborhood? And we want to say like we don't want to be like this person that took 163 or 147 days in a market where buyers are skittish, where they want to get where they can get out of contract. And so we've got to, work with the loan officer to shorten that time. And so it could be powerful. But let me show you this. Let's do some other math. And sorry, David, if that's not working. I'm not sure how to.
Part was not a value.
Yeah.
It was 181 divided by 181. So it's 180
Okay.
out of 81. So he had that as a
Because it's
value.
continuous days on market.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
you gotta have an
No.
actual number.
Okay. Yeah, it won't divide something if there's not a number. So
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should have just done CDOM.
That's what I'm saying. It's the
The
deal.
number to start with.
No, mine
It's
is
okay.
CDON.
okay.
No, he didn't do CDOM. It's
You
another
did.
field.
You
He did another field.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Okay. So yeah.
You have
So
both of them in your field. I only have one in my field. You did wrong.
and thanks everyone. I know
Well, you could just change it just to learn the lesson. Just throw in 30 in all your fields and it'll keep you out of it. You see what I mean? Just throw the number 30 in that whole line.
I got it.
Okay, so let's do some other math, and I want to show you how to make some graphs. And so let's look at like something that might be valuable. How are properties selling compared to their original list price? Well, we just have to do some basic math, and we're going to tell Excel we want to look at the original price and the closed price. Okay, so what we want to do, the formula, you can put it wherever you want. I'm going to use Q2, and I would say we could put an equals, and we'll go D2 minus C2 equals D2 minus C2, which is closed price minus original price, minus $8,000 for the first one. Again, you might be sorted differently. So I want you to type in that formula D2 minus C2.
Yeah, that's-
Minus 8,000 at the end.
Minus
Just
it.
D2 minus D2.
You know what?
That's
Minus
the,
it.
that's
So
not
it's
good.
I don't know.
Okay.
Right, it's gonna be
So when you set up the custom export, it's missing the closed price. You got the original price.
Okay, I have
So,
a
yeah,
question. I know the first
So you have to go
one we
back
did
and just add that.
What was that? What is column O representative? How many days?
How many days you get paid?
Okay.
So if a house was on
You
market.
could say how many to
81
get paid
days,
or how many from start to finish.
Right, yeah. I put total days.
Thank you.
closed, so-
Total days. Okay, so that can do- And what is, again, what are we?
Okay, and then this is
In Q would go on original list.
Average.
I'm gonna call it price difference. And so, okay, so is everyone there? So equal D2 minus C2. Are we good? We good? Yeah, no, yeah. Where we at? Where we at, friends? Let's struggle together. I know this is a frustrating class because it's like we're all cats just going, what do we do here? Thanks for working with us. Okay, so we push return. Okay, and then remember, I put my mouse in that box and I could take down this little square and then take it all the way down. And here's what we see. And so what's your observation of properties? Minus 65,000?
Sell 8,000.
Yeah,
It's gonna be different.
it's all over the place.
One thing to note right there is if you have any that didn't have an original price or didn't have a closed price, you gotta take that zero out. Zero screw your data up really bad.
So if there's no original price and no closed price, that's you probably incorporated listings. And what we want to do is just use closed sales. And we could do listings later if we want, but let's look at just closed sales because otherwise, yeah, it's not going to help. But let's do this. So let's look at the number of offers. I want you to click on F. Actually, let's just highlight. Oops, excuse me. Click on F.
Yeah, it is.
And then I want you to go to insert and I want to show you how to make some visuals that you can share with sellers or you can use it on your social. And so click on F with the number of offers. Actually, let's just sort the number of offers from least to greatest. Come on. There we go. There we go. Sort the number of offers from least to greatest. Okay, so you're clicked on F, and then you'll go to insert. And do you see how there's a bunch of different options? Hopefully in your version of whatever you're using, there's like this bar chart. You can kind of click on that little arrow, click down on this one, and do you see how it makes a graph?
What?
Okay,
Wait a minute, do that again.
okay, so let me do that again.
I don't have that option.
I don't think.
I mean, I
You,
probably
you do.
but-
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's probably easier if it's to do one.
Okay, so we'll click on F and then we'll go to insert. And then we'll look for the little charts. Okay, and
maybe
you might
I'll
have a
have
drop
chart.
down or something, but what we want to choose is a bar chart. And this is called like a 2D, you know, clustered column, whatever it's called, it doesn't matter. There's a bunch of different options. And you know, you kind of pick what works as long as it communicates. But see, I click that and go, okay, great. I think that looks really nice, but do you see all that white space on the right side? It's because right down here, I'm just gonna do that and then boom.
That is amazing.
Okay, so like what we want to start to do is we can present, you know, graphs like this. And over time you can figure out like how to, you know, how to play with them and how to,
We can
how to,
take over SAC appraisal blog.
you can. Put me out of my job.
Wait, Ryan.
Okay, I'm leaving.
How you
Right.
like just
Boom.
list to getting that chart?
Yeah, absolutely. But for those that are on the chart though, like you can figure out, see this little, oh, I'll get there. See this little plus sign? You can go to access titles and just like on any chart you make, you want to tell people what it is. And so if this one, I would type out like number of offers, single family detached homes. So people are like, are there condos in there? No, make it really clear what it is. And I'd always have sacramentoappraisalblog.com on the next line. Like you want your website on there. If someone's going to steal your image, fine. Then at least they have to blot it out, right?
Yeah.
So we can mess with that, but let's go back.
That's really.
I'm gonna just push that to the side right now. And the cool part, like you start to do this in one neighborhood, you get a bunch of graphs you like. You can go to a different neighborhood, just dump that neighborhood's data in there and your graphs will just populate. Okay. So how do we do this again? So I was on F. Are we there? Yeah. Okay. So I'm on F, then I go to insert. And then we look for our different options. Do you see the bar chart? And then there's line, we could do a line chart if we want. We could do a bar chart. We could do whatever we want. I like the bar and I simply click on the bar. If I wanted to, I'm like, I don't like the bars. I could do a line graph. I don't like that personally. Do you like that?
No.
I think it looks really bad.
That's all the story you're trying.
Exactly. So we're in charge. We get to go like, does this communicate? Like, I think this one does not communicate. And so if I'm on here, then I can go back up to insert and I'm like, let me try something else. And I'll go, let me go to bar. Oh, bar is much better. And then again, if I have that empty space, I got to make sure that the data goes up there. Okay. Now, if I'm like, oh, I see the number of offers here and what I can do, let me just make sure that this works on this laptop. Okay, perfect. Okay, so here's the cool part, guys. Let's use the number of offers and kind of like you can grab the top of the graph and put it, you know, maybe on the top of the screen. And I just want to click my mouse anywhere in here and I'm going to go Control C. I'm going to copy this graph and then I'm going to go Control V to paste the graph anywhere else. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, now, do you see how?
Outside of Excel?
Hopefully, we will find out. So, but check this out. So I'm like, okay, it's really great that I have multiple offers, but do you see how when I put the mouse in offers and it highlights what the data is?
Yeah.
Well, I could just take this and I can move it over to days on market. Okay. And so I was on number of offers. Do you see how I'm high? when I highlight the chart, it's on number of offers. And if I actually grab it from up here, it should take everything over. Yep. Then it goes to days on market. Now, days on market, though, I need to sort that column. So I'm going to unclick everything. Oops, let me get rid of that average down there, though. So if I go to everything, let's see, data, sort, where's sort? What
version of Excel are you running?
This is JJ's computer, whatever he has. So, but basically we can put together visuals to, and unfortunately with this version, it changed the other chart when I did it. And so that's a bummer. And so we're going to have to create a new chart every time we do this. But here's the cool part. You have a days on market chart. You have a number of offers chart. And we could do other stuff too. Let me see. Do you guys want to try something? I think this one in particular is really, really cool.
So when you said it changed that other chart, it didn't change the data, but it just changed because of the order.
Yeah, it changed the order. And so what I would do here is from what we'll do from now on, we're just going to make one new chart for every time we make it. I don't know why Excel gets buggy like that sometimes. It does. Sometimes you have to work with it with Excel. Like sometimes you're on it and you're like, how do I do this? Go to YouTube. Someone has answered the most basic thing in the world. Where is this? And I get frustrated sometimes. It's on YouTube, I swear. Okay. So let's do this. Let me show you. Let me just make sure that this works. Okay, I think this one's going to be cool. Okay. So here's what I want to show you. I want to show you how, what's happening, what's selling above and below. This is going to be awesome. And the cool part is that nobody else has data like this. Okay, we're sharing national stuff that doesn't make any sense for the neighborhood. We want to share local stuff. So this is a cool part where we're going to combine two different columns. Okay. Now, the cool part is that I want you to save this at the end. So you maybe remember how to do this. You forget about it. No problem. Email me. Then I'll be like, oh, you remember what we were saying, or it's on the video. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to highlight closed price. Okay, highlight closed price first, and then you're going to push control because we're going to have to highlight a different column. If we don't push control, it won't let you highlight multiple columns. Push control, and then highlight the other column where we have the difference. I put it in Q. Okay, and so you should have these two columns highlighted. Do you see that? Is everyone there? It's okay if you're not there, just let us know. Okay, so put on close price, highlight that column, and then you're going to have to push control to highlight the next column. Because if we try to highlight the next column, it'll unhighlight the other one. And so control helps us to highlight multiple columns. Does that make sense? Is everyone there? Yeah, so get it first. So we'll highlight D and then control, and then we'll click on whatever column you put the price difference in. Is everyone there?
Yeah.
Okay. Then go to inserts and charts. And then this one's called a scatter. And we'll click on the scatter and it'll have a different type of graph. Now we're going to make it look a little bit pretty. I'm grabbing the corner to make it a little bit bigger. But does everyone's kind of look something like this? Yeah. If you're stuck, that's totally fine. Just let us know. We're kind of like, we're getting rid of people. People are like, I'm done. I can't do this. I find that either people love this or they're like, wow, I'm overwhelmed. Here's what I want to ask you to do. Lean into it. It will change your real estate career. But the only way you'll be successful, you flirt with this data every single day. And then you'll get hungry. You'll be like, wow, how do I show this certain thing?
I've used this to create the duplex index that I use.
Awesome.
And it tells me exactly what the cap rate is for all properties in Sacramento. And I've used it for years. And every time I talk to an investor about it, they're like, I've never heard anybody do that.
Exactly.
It's one of the great things you can do with your
exactly. Or just last night, someone I was emailing with was like, hey, we've got a real problem with notice of defaults hitting the market. And I talked back and forth with this person. I exported all this data and I'm like, we don't. And he's like, no, but this, I'm like, this is what it says. Like, we literally don't. But okay, so check this out. So we have this graph. And first of all, the numbers are in the middle of the screen. Let's get rid of that. That is like ugly. Like, what is going on with that? So you click in there, but I want you to right click and then you go to format access So you right click right where the numbers are, and then go to format access. And then there's one called labels. You scroll down, find labels, and then instead of next to access, we go low. Let's hit low. Then it's going to be much more readable. Okay. But what we want to do, we want to clean this up because it does not look good right now. Okay. But what this does, like in short, like, do you see how like some properties sold above their original price? And do you see how like if they're going above, like 20,000 is about the peak. Besides this one bad boy that was 80,000 because the market's so hot. No, because it was priced 80,000 low, right? Yep. But let's clean this up. But you see how like there's a lot of properties that sold below. And if they're going below, it looks like a lot of them are about 10,000 or so below. And then you have some that are even more. But let's clean it up. Let's double click on the bottom here on the numbers. And then it should bring up this screen. And what we want to do, let's like just put in maybe $300,000 as the minimum. And what I want to do there is and then click tab. What I want to do is I want to like zoom in on the data. It doesn't need to start at 0 because we're going to waste all this space. And so what I did, I double clicked in there and then I put 300,000 and it looks like 500,000 is probably a good number to stick at for the top.
I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. I just
So-
don't know.
Okay, so do you see? Yeah, so double click on here on the bottom on the x-axis. And then if you double click on there, it should bring up something.
The format access. Mine said.
Format access. Okay.
Data
Okay.
references.
And so format access, and then there's different options, and then it should be under this one with the bars. Okay, so click on that one with the bars, and then you should be able to say minimum, maximum. Does anyone see that?
Oh, I see it now.
You see it. You see the light. Glory.
And it lets me.
And so what we want to do, then we could pick up, I'm just going to, this other one, instead of 20,000, I'm going to change it to 10. And I push tab and so, oops, actually, wait, I don't want that one.
Major and minor.
Okay. And so we've got to decide what we want to do here. Let me see here. I'm going to click on the y-axis and I want mine to go in 10,000 increments instead of 20,000. So I'm going to change 20,000 to 10.
So is the y-axis the vertical or the horizontal?
Vertical.
Okay.
Yeah. And then X is horizontal.
Okay.
This is like math class. We're like,
Yeah.
we'll never use math ever. Why is this even relevant, teacher? And we're like, well, here we are. Okay. So when I click on the X, or excuse me, when I click on the Y, I didn't change anything here. It automatically kind of had 90,000 versus 90,000, but I did change where it says units major. I put in 10,000 instead of 20 because I wanted the lines to show, you know, a little bit tighter.
Okay, so sorry, which value did you do on the Y that you changed to 10,000?
I changed this one. Do you see where it says units major right there?
Unit,
Yeah.
unit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's like the first one, the bounds, it's like the top 90,000, 90,000. We just kind of have to like just figure out, well, what's going to tell the best story? Okay, so, and again, we can make this graph pretty. We're going to have to, we can click on it. Like every graph should have labels, your website, all that stuff. But what's the takeaway here if you're talking to a seller about the past 6 months? What's the takeaway here? And could we pull this same data for 2021? Do you know what we would see? Everything going above, but we've got to say, look, like we've got, it looks like most properties are either at the list price or below. Could you pull up some data in different price ranges and see that there's regularly $300,000 to $500,000 reductions? Absolutely. So then your listing in Loomis is like, yeah, let's reduce by 20,000, and you're like, maybe not.
This is the kind of stuff that's really hard for somebody that's not a high C. If they're not a high C, they can grasp the visual. If they're a high C, they're okay with you just telling them the data.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
all the people that aren't high Cs are going to want to see a graph.
Yeah.
Like you could hand this graph to a high I, and they would still be able to follow the graph.
Yeah,
And keep it, I don't know about scatter graph, but they can follow a bar graph.
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. And the thing I've learned over time is that, like, the client might just be like, hey, I just wanted to know if it's a good time to sell my home.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I didn't need this dissertation, but like, we're doing this type of research and we're understanding the market before we show up to meet someone. So if they ask, well, how long should I expect? Like, I really need to move. I need to be done by March. And you're like, perfect, because in this neighborhood, here's the average. But what we don't want to do, we want to be careful of that one guy who was on the market for 189 days and such. And so, like,
So
not
that
every,
chart, by the way, you can right click on it and save it as a JPEG
Oh,
and just drop it into any kind of marketing material.
exactly.
You know.
And so that's why, and so we, yeah, and I would say, yeah, right click or Excel's weird sometimes. You might have to like left click, Control C, then Control V into whatever program you're using. I use Microsoft Paint on my PC, and that's how I make my graphs from Excel, but just Control C and then Control V and then save that sucker. That's why it has all the stuff on there. But then another thing we could do if we wanted to, let me just show you real quick, close price. And if I wanted to do number of offers, like sometimes we look and we're like, is this even interesting? Does this communicate? But we could look and be like, okay, here's the number of offers and how many are getting. And let's switch this to, let's make that 1 because there's no such thing as 0 offers, or there shouldn't be. Come on, buddy. Let's see, where are we? There we go. And I'm going to change that to 1. But you see how, I mean, we can communicate, and I might even truncate this. Like there was that 1 at 14. I just want to like, let's get rid of that. But let me see here. Let's change that to 300. But you see how real quick, like we put together a visual and we're just showing like, look, a lot of the market is at 1, some are at 2, but the cool part is that in some neighborhoods, you might do this and be like, oh, wow, there's a lot more offers at lower prices. And then in a neighborhood, like if you put the whole pocket neighborhood in here or a big neighborhood, and you might see this graph kind of goes down like this. And where above $1 million, you're not seeing the 4 or 5 offers unless it's some sort of unicorn. And so, I don't know, I think it can be powerful to show, okay, where are we at here? Oops. Is that there? So, but I also have, there's one more thing. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, yeah. So the danger is like we leave here and then we're like, okay, that was nice. I'll never use it again. But let's go to do we have a little bit of time still? Or okay, let's go to MLS. Totally cool if you got a jet. Let's go to MLS in a neighborhood. Let's go actually to Sun City. And yeah, do you have a listing in Sun City?
Yes, it's gone on a contract twice already.
Okay.
Yes, and I have a Bay Area trustee seller who just does not get the market
Yeah.
here. And she wants to raise the price. Oh, no.
So
And this is incredible. I have to go show.
it's no problem, no problem. Thank you for being here. And I know it's like this is a tough class sometimes, but I hope that you can walk away with something. I do have a resource. Johnny will get the PDF to everyone for you to download a link that will make automatic graphs for you too. But does anyone want to do Sun City, or are we beating a dead horse?
I'm down for it.
Is anyone down? Is anyone down? Because if we're not, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So go to standard search, go to search, and then go to standard. This is a really easy way to get Sun City because with the neighborhood boundaries. So go to search and then go to standard. Click on single family. And in Sun City, we're just going to do sales. Now we could do this same type of search with listings. Frankly, you could have a different custom export that you set up for just pendings because you want to look at different criteria. And there's like hundreds of things you can look at. So whatever's relevant for you. So click on close, but let's look in Sun City. Instead of the past 6 months, let's look at the past 3 months, okay? The market can change quickly here. Let's just make sure there's enough sales, preview count. Okay, wait. I need to put in Sun City. So let's go down here, areas, right? Area district. And then if you type in Sun City, okay, there we go. Sun C, and then Sun City, Lincoln Hills, boom, there we go. I don't know if there's a Roseville in there or not. Okay, is there? Yeah, I don't think.
Okay, perfect, let's do it.
So the cool, Roseville's super easy to draw on a map. Lincoln Hills, you're like, wait, is this 12 bridges or what's like, oh my gosh.
No radius in that neighborhood. for
No,
sure.
no. So, okay, so there's 79 sales. And actually, let's do this. Let's do the past 2 months. Forget that. We don't need to look at 79. Preview count. Okay, is everyone there? Is everyone there? Okay, and then let's go to export. We got 2 months of sales in Sun City. Sometimes, okay, good. I'm glad that happened. So go find your export. You find your export, you push submit. And I'm telling MLS, I want to see this data that we just pulled out. So here's Sun City. I'm going to open it up. Theoretically, there we go. Okay. Now, if I want the most recent stuff, I could just simply, let me click on this column and let's sort this. Okay, so I start to look at stuff like, look at the number of offers in Sun City. Cindy, like, tell your client, right? You look at the most recent stuff, 1111122, like there's not a lot. Or let's click on number of offers. You got, okay, then your seller just.
But it keeps, no one's saying.
Okay, so data, if I go to sort this and I put these in order, and then remember, it's the stuff that we learned. Insert, and then I go to the bar chart. And then look at this. The number of offers in Sun City over the past 60 days. And there's a little bit of blank space. I'm just going to scroll down here. This is the easiest graph in the world to make. I just want to get that up there because it bugs me. Okay. Do we see Sun City though? Like when we set seller expectations, there's been about 60 sales. Do we see how many have gotten one offer? Like, right? So what do we want to set seller expectations for? If you get one offer, it's time to probably say yes if it's a reasonable offer. Would that resonate with the seller or not? I don't know.
I think it should.
Yeah, if the visual doesn't resonate with them, do some quick math and be like, what percentage had one offer? Very, very powerful. But if we do this, like, remember some stuff we learned, I click on close price, I go control, and oops, let me do some quick math. D2 minus C2, remember we did that? And I have these formulas in the PowerPoint too.
So it's always the same. They're always the same formulas.
Well, it depends on what the columns are.
But if we set it up.
If
your
this
way-
export is set up, it'll always, if you want to set, the difference between the sales price, absolutely. So, but like with this one in Sun City, I push control and O, and then I could go to insert, and then I look, let me see here. This one's going to be a scatter graph. And let me just quickly doctor this thing up. And let me just change this. It always bothers me when that is not below.
Which column did you choose there?
I did D for close price, and O is what I made column O right now. And so, but let me just go to labels because it just bugs me when that's not right. Low. Okay, but in Sun City, like, I don't know if this will resonate with your seller, but do we see what's happening here?
Everything's down below, the majority's down below asking.
Yeah, here are the numbers of properties down here. And here is the, above or below, the majority are going below, right? And when they go below, you can see it's a lot of them are just about, like 5, 10,000, maybe 20. Some of them are 40. Look at these bad boys right here, like 100,000 or so. And so it's just like, will this graph resonate with anyone? I don't know. But like, what we want to do is at least come with the data and say like, very few are going above though, right?
That's in less than 90 days.
That's unless I did 60. Yeah.
Oh, that was peak.
Yeah, but it's like we start to look and we're like, oh, what about buyer financing into Sun City?
How do you format the axis again?
And then by the time I go back.
For which one? For the scatter chart?
Oh, okay, so right click on the numbers there.
Oh,
Yeah, and then, oh, did you right click? Yeah, format access and then go down. Okay, labels.
Bottom below, whatever it
Below,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect, awesome, thank you.
And we need to like put labels on these and stuff, but let's like one last thing, let's go to Sun City. Actually, two things. If we're in Sun City and let's look at buyer financing and let's sort that column. Like you don't have to make any graphs, but let's just sort this thing. And what are we going to notice? A lot of cash. Okay. And it looks like 1031 exchanges, but basically 28 out of 56. So about, and that's normal for Sun City. Okay. Sun City normally operates about 46% cash.
Yeah.
This year it's been more like 58. Okay. It's been more cash, and it just shows you that like even these buyers are sensitive to rates. They're spending more cash. But we want to set expectations. Oh, it's a lot of veterans, and we're like, well, is it? No, there's two VA loans. Okay. There's one private, there's one FHA. And so we want to set expectations. But we could also look and go concessions, like what's happening in concessions? What's your guess in Sun City?
Guessing there's, if they have Kitech, you're gonna get that. If
Yeah.
they haven't done the upgrade, well, most people unfortunately pass away and they have stuff wrong with their house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't know they were gonna pass
So
away.
here's data. And then I'm going to go Z to A because I want that yes to show first. It's just easier to read. Look, there's only like 10 out of almost 60. And so concessions, like they aren't really prominent. In some neighborhoods, you're going to see 50% easily. So we want to set expectations, at least for the ones that are like, hey, you really might have to give something to a buyer. Or for buyers, say like here's what's happening in the market. I do this quick export, forget the graphs. Like you don't need to make the graphs, that freaks you out. But we have this export set up where we can be like, okay, how can I talk to my buyer about what's happening with concessions? Here's what you can expect. And when you pull up North Highlands or a first-time buyer price point, you see a lot of concessions going on. And you can start to compare and go, well, what happened? Look at these concessions and what happened with these properties. Look, they sold below, above, below. Like a lot of buyers like are getting concessions when these properties have been on the market maybe a little bit longer. And so, but in some neighborhoods you see stuff and like, man, this property was on the market for a while, but they still got concessions too. And so it's hit and miss, but what we want to do is just look at this and try to communicate.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, how often realtors don't put in yes for concessions, even though there were. Seems like fairly often.
It happens. There's no perfect data field in MLS, but it's sort of, if we have junk in, there's junk out. I track this on a regional basis though, and it's really consistent over time. And so I think realtors do a good job, but it's a little messy right now, I think, with NAR stuff. A lot of people may be confusing, well, is the compensation a concession? That's a different thing. I hope we resolve that in 2025. We really need to.
What kind of chart would you use for the concession?
Unfortunately, it's hard to make a chart with either yes or no.
Yeah.
And so I'm not a big pie chart guy. I'm a pie guy, but not a pie chart guy. But what I think what would communicate powerfully here is probably a bar chart, which would be this many yes and then this many no, if you wanted to make that.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that could be a visual, or this could be a quick reel on Instagram, like, hey, here's what happened. Here's how many got concessions. Here's how many didn't, here's days. Let's look at days on market and we'll sort that from least to greatest and 0 days on market. And so you could be like, look at this, in 2 weeks, almost half the sales are gone in 2 weeks. Like that's pretty quick over the past 60 days, but then it's like, then you have, 167 days, right? And so we look and go, okay, let's highlight this column and go, what's the average formula? This one, go to average, and it should have put that down there. Let me see. Nope, did it not? Okay. Everyone's Excel is different. It always takes it's a little bit different. So let's go average. 30.1 days. But wouldn't that be a cool reel to say, hey, look, on property, on average, it's taking 30 days to sell. Could you run this same stat in 2021? You could pull up 2021 over the past 60 days in 2021 and say in 2021, it was 15 days. But now it's taking twice as long to sell. Some properties, 167 days, about half of them, went intended. And so you have some quick stats where you could tell the story. No one else is doing this level of work, but it's not that hard to get the information, is it? Like, forget the graphs. This is super easy. It's right there. We could make averages right away. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, like, I hope like you're looking at this going, man, I can do that. Like, I know you can, right? Like, forget, like, if you're freaked out about the graphs, forget that stuff. But this stuff, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was gonna look at the average days that you pulled out. It says 30, but if you go at the bottom of the last number, it's like 167 something is the highest number. It is like it's way far from the average price. So like if you list a house and they're like, okay, average at day 31 or 35, they're like, okay, why are we not getting an offer? We are past the average days on the market. What would be a good strategies to, like, you think would be better to get the maximum days on the market and the minimum days on the market along with that? 'Cause I know
So,
there is a formula.
yeah. So what tends to happen is the longer you're on the market, the lower you tend to sell from the list price. I mean, it's like Realtor 101 stuff. Hang on, let me just show you.
Yeah. Because I was wondering if it correlates with the pricing.
Well, so if a property goes too quickly, you wonder if there's money on the table, but it's typically bidding up like first 7 days. And then from then on, but so much of that is related to the price. It's not a huge brag if you price low and then get bid up. It's like, well, okay, that's what should happen, right? I got offers on my Craigslist listing because, for my dresser, because it was priced low. Same thing with real estate. And so I don't know. I think that it's all about adequate enough exposure. I look at though, what's half the market doing, like the median amount, and you could see like here, we're half the market. If we go down, the median is the one in the middle. And what are we, is it 58, 56? So what's 50, 57, 56 divided to 23? Median days is 13. So half the market is moving in 2 weeks or less. That's what fast looks like in today's market. I like the idea of trying to meet the median. And I would look to those comps and be like, what is it about those ones? Is it concessions? So I could look at just this top amount. Is it concessions? Is it the square footage? Did it have a pool? Like what is it about these ones? I could go back to my export and go, I really need to get rid of these categories that I'm not using. I want to add in 5 other things that I really want to pay attention to. Is it the dog washing station? That's not a category, but like we want to add in stuff to be like, what is it that about this one? But then we look at the photos too, and we're like, oh, it was condition or location, or we look at the ones that aren't selling, they're overpriced, but also, oh, they back a busy street. And sometimes that's the issue in today's market. Yeah.
Is there, do you know if there was a field we could add that would also have added a column with the MLS number, so that when you thought of a property, you just then like you want to
Absolutely.
find out why,
Yep.
you just copy and paste.
Yeah, so you can have the MLS number.
Or you had the address right there.
Yeah, I have the address on purpose because sometimes you're like, you need to look something up. But if the MLS number is relevant for you, add yeah, absolutely.
Pull up the picture.
Totally. Yeah. Type in the MLS number there. You could add that. And like take what doesn't work for you. If I could show you just one more thing, and then I know we got to wrap up, but I do have actually a custom export that I want to show you. And I could send you the link to this tutorial. This is a different export that I set up in a particular order. I have a video on YouTube that shows here are the 15 things to do. And I go here, I've already set up this export. I'm going to do it with Sun City. We always have to ask, like, is 2 months, like, that might not be enough time. There might be some instances where I'm like, I want to look at the whole year, right? And so we have to be in charge of that. Is this enough data to be meaningful? Okay. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut and paste all of this, and I want to show you. I have this somewhere. Hey, JJ put it on here somewhere. Are we? Where's my
PowerPoint?
I have the darn it, I should have. Oh, here we go. Okay. So here's what I have. I have this spreadsheet right here. There's all these instructions, and you basically cut and paste this into this data that I just cut, and I'm gonna paste it right here. And what it does is it makes all these graphs, okay? Now, if I go down here, I'm just gonna like, let me double click on this, and I'm gonna call it Sun City. Dang it, I swear I can't type on this. Sun Lincoln. Okay, and on each graph, I'm gonna make sure that says Sun City Lincoln sales. Do you see right here? I'd have to click on that. Past 60 days, all of 2024, whatever. Right here, I'm gonna have to click on this. There's been some at different price points, and so let's just go 1.3 million. I can click on square footage down here. I need to massage the graph to make sure that I have everything. Lincoln kind of tops out around what, 3,500 or so. But the cool part is that sometimes when I'm doing an appraisal, I'll dump some data in there in East Sacramento for the whole year. And then I'm like, if my value is like, here's like, imagine the 1,700 square foot house. And imagine if I was thinking value was way down here, but then I'm looking at the range and go like, here's the range right here. Like, why am I so low? Like, maybe that's a clue that like, wow, I need to, really look at that. Here's another cool thing in Sun City, Lincoln, price per square foot. It makes this graph. And the cool part is that if you ever have someone who's hung up on price per square foot, you could see the smallest homes tend to have a lower price per square foot than the largest, but they have all these big ones on the golf course. Some neighborhoods, this just goes way down. In Lincoln, it goes horizontal because you have these big homes on the golf course. But you have your seller who's like, we're a 3,000 square foot house. We're gonna get 500 price per square foot. But then you look at this, you're like, good luck, right? But we kind of go down, and there's a bunch of different graphs. I kept the concessions one in there just in case MLS updates this. This was like my favorite field. We were able to do some awesome stuff. Not right now, but it's still there just in case. Here's days on market. I really like this one because you can see it's in the first 7 days where properties get bid up. And look what happens. The longer you're on the market, the lower you tend to sell from the original price.
What's that? Red line with the median?
The red line is just sort of like the trend, where it falls. It's sort of a median, but you can kind of see that that's sort of the trend. And once in a while, like, look, this one sold at the original price. There's always a story, but this looks different in every single neighborhood. Yeah.
Can you show just how you got to the format access really quick? When you do the format access, how you get there? So you're on that chart, right?
So I'm on this chart. Say I could double click in there. I double click it, and then it brings up these options. And say I'm like, I want to look at 200 days, and then there's a few others,
I just wasn't sure how you got there.
But then I keep going down. There's a bunch of charts like number of offers, and what I really like though is like this one right here. And let me just change some stuff. Say 1.3 million. Let's grab that. Make it look pretty.
That's
And
supposed to be 1.35E6.
1.35, that's what it says. But do we see how like if properties get bid up, like they're getting bid up under 50 grand? So I'm gonna look at that. Okay. And there might be some other stuff I can put in bigger numbers, but what do we see happening in Sun City? Do you see very few properties going above?
Yeah.
Most of them are probably overpriced. This looks different in every neighborhood though. The cool part is like this template, it just makes it for you.
Yeah.
You just, but like, see, so down here, I'm saving this one as Sun City, Lincoln. And one time I put my website in all of these and I changed, whatever I wanted there, but then I can have one, for different neighborhoods. And let me just show you real quick. There's some other ones. I don't know. I mean, some of them I don't even personally like anymore. But let me show you Loomis. Yeah. This is a template I shared. But let me show you like Loomis. This is a cool one right here. This shows the age of homes from 1940 onward, and here's price. What do you notice happening in Loomis as homes get newer?
Price goes up.
Price goes up. And the size goes up also. This is a size thing. In some neighborhoods, so do you know what happens in East Sacramento? Sometimes you see homes in the 1920s selling for way more than newer stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you change the colors of the dots? How did you do that?
How do I do what?
Change the colors of the dots.
Oh, if you want to change the colors of the dots, oops. always keep color blindness in mind. Of course, you just right click on it on any dot, and then make sure though, if you like, the first right click you do will select all of them. So one right click and then go to format data series, and then go to that little paint can dealio, go to marker, and then you're like, fill, I want these dots to be whatever color. I feel very goth today. We're gonna make it black. Okay, whatever you think will communicate. We always want to be sensitive to color blindness. You're like, but again, like, I think I use these in every report I do. I wouldn't use them with every client though.
Yeah.
But like, this spreadsheet is,
That's tiny URL.
yeah, it's the URL, the QR code at the very beginning. But I also have, the last thing I'll share is,
Is that open here, the link, the tiny URL thing?
yeah, that was the link to that, okay?
Oh, it's
And
the
then,
first slide.
yeah, and then there was also, here were some Excel formulas that we shared, the column. But there's also like, if you want to see the difference in price as a percentage, that's how you do that, okay? But like, here's how you have to set it up. And this will be at this link right here. This is my very last blog post in 2023, my very last one. And there's about a 40-minute tutorial, okay, on YouTube. And if you invest the time in just to be like, how do I make this thing work? And if you start to do it in every neighborhood, you'll get really good at it, okay? But the key is to not reinvent the wheel every single time. Like, you have your template and you're working in Rosemont. Do a Rosemont tab, a Loomis, Sun City, and you can, if you want, like, you can, what I should have done is not, I should have kept another one, but I right click on this and then I go move or copy. And then I can make a copy of Rosemont, and, you know, and then I have to redo the data. But what you want to do is you can keep adding tabs, okay? And so it's just like, you have one document, or maybe you have one for plaster, or maybe you have one for SAC, or I don't know, you know, what
Well, I had to combat one of Rosemont today. I'm like, are
cool.
those actually current?
yeah.
Charts up there that I can just, I literally have to pop one up today.
This was whatever I had. This was all of 2024 in
Oh.
Rosemont.
Yeah,
So-
because literally she told me, it was funny because she's, I'm like, what do you think your house is worth? And it was about 50,000 over what I could even find.
Yeah.
Out. So I was like, where are you getting this data? So,
Yes, so then it's interesting, because what
That's
size is the home?
it's one of
It's-
the, 1,050 square feet, the smaller ones. the
And
three one in
What did
there.
what did she say? What size?
She thought it was worth 450, and I'm thinking they're worth 399.
Okay, so look, so the very highest sale this year is 450.
Mhm.
So, and you can kind of see about 390 to 450.
Mhm.
There's this range. And so we're like, if we're above, is there a reason why it's above? Or if it's below, is there a reason for that as a market change?
Oh, and
or-
the 450s are all complete flips, all new
Yeah.
plumbing, all HVAC, and
Yeah.
every inch of it has been replaced, because they got the plumbing
For
issues
sure.
out there too.
For sure. And so maybe like a graph like this, you could be like, hey, like, that's a great idea, but you got to realize the top of the market is 450.
Mhm.
Would you pay the very highest price for that? And so,
Mhm.
you know, or we go down, but look at Rosemont. Rosemont's a little different. Do you see days on market? Oops. Do you see what's happening in the first 7 or so days? Oops.
Going over this.
Come on, buddy. I'm really not good at a laptop. You see what's happening? There's a lot more competition, but it's about the first 14 days where stuff's more getting bid up. But even, you know, set 14 to 21, the first 3 weeks is where it happens. But the most bid up, that's what happens. And then the longer you're on the market, the lower you're going to sell. But we also look and go, how much lower are people selling? And then a lot of it's within about 5%. If you're going to get bid up 5% in 2021, you could run those stats and put it in here. I guarantee you in 2021, you know, there were a lot that were 10 to 15% above. We're not in that market anymore. And so, but I don't know. It's always interesting. There's always something to learn, something to know.
When you're going in to pull your more recent stats, when is the data typically updated in the MLS?
So, I mean, data gets updated every single day in MLS.
Like the trend graphic stuff like.
Oh,
that.
I don't.
You don't.
Yeah, I
do
don't
that at all?
mess with trend graphics for stuff like this, because this right here is like real time. Trend graphics will get updated like
Every
on
30
about the
days.
5th or 6th of the month.
5th or 6th. yeah.
For the previous month, which tells us more, like when November stats come out, that'll tell us more what the market was like in October,
Yep.
right? We could run pending contracts in some of this data too. I'm thinking about creating something like this for just pendings or listings. I might do that. I don't know. Sometimes I do this stuff and people are like, oh, that's awesome. I'll never do it, you know?
Yeah. How do you look up large data sets when you're looking up the number of sales in metro lists for 2024 versus 2023? How do you do that?
So a large data set, I'd go to, I have a saved search. By the way, if you don't save searches, like I highly recommend, figure out how to do that. I have a regional search that I do. It's a standard search. And it's so that way I don't have to type in single family home, and I'm gonna look, say in the region. I got my parameter Sac, Placer, Yolo, El Dorado. That's what I'm gonna consider the region. A lot of people forget Yolo, and I'm like, hey, Yolo is not the red-haired stepchild. Let's not forget that. But say I want to do, let's do November. November last year versus November this year. This is like a one-click thing. Oh my gosh. See the statistics tab? Okay, now note this, I'm only selecting sales. If I put in listings, it's going to screw everything up, but statistics, this is a poor man's best way to do it. And you go down and look, there were 1,180 sales last year. And you see the median price, 570, average price, 627. Like there's a bunch of data in here. Here's days on market, 17, 30. And then I would just rerun it for 2024.
So you don't do like January through December.
Well, it depends on what I'm running. If I'm looking at volume, sure. If I'm looking at prices, I'm more interested in what's going on right now. I'll do do some awesome recaps at the end of the year where I'll do a search like this. I will do for the entire year compared to the entire year. But we also have to look at the most recent month compared to last year, recent months.
I guess what I'm asking, people are saying, hey, sales are down for the year, but I think you did something recently.
They're up. They're up
Sales
this
are up
year.
locally. Nationally, I think they're flat or down,
Yeah.
but locally they're up. And so I was wondering how you would find that.
Got it. Okay, I see what you're asking. So let's look at this. This is super easy. And the cool part, you can do this in any neighborhood. You can pull up a map search and you could do it by the map search, or you could do it a standard search. So let's look at all of 2024. Let's say through the end of November. Okay.
Yeah.
How many sales in the region? Let's remember this number. 16,872. Can someone write that down?
Yeah.
And then let me look at that. We apples to apples approach. 16,026.
Is there a way to do that for listings? Cause you can't, I don't know in MLS how to go back and look, past listings.
Yeah.
like Number of listings over time.
That's very tedious, but what I would do, that's where I would click on trend graphics. And you could look up trend graphics because they have really good data for the number of listings. And say we're looking in Placer County.
So it's up 5%.
Yeah.
It's not significant.
No, part of that is more new construction. About half of that is builders. And so it's kind of like, wah, wah, but hey, would we rather have more than none? Absolutely. Yeah. And so like for new listings, I would click on here and here's sold the
Not
new
sure if it's
listings.
Trend graphic.
Trend Graphics has good stuff for this. New listings, say in November, 356 in Placer County. And then last year was 319. Right? If you're making an Instagram reel, you could be like, there was about a 10% increase in the number of new listings. What I think would be the lead would be sellers thought out by 10% this year. What a killer way to talk about the market. But then you look at sales and you're like, okay, 336 sales and 281. You're like, okay, buyers thought out also. Okay, what was normal before? You could like look at this and be, look all the way back 15 years if you want. And then you're like, okay, my self-esteem shouldn't be based on sales volume. But I think very quick stats we can get like this. Trend Graphics is a great source, but just make sure if you're pulling monthly stats, you got to wait almost a week for all those sales to be entered into MLS. If you pull them on the first of the month, like my stats, like I don't push out, no, I haven't pushed out November stats yet because it's like, I can push them out on the first and man, we're missing about 10% of the sales. When you're in a market with not that many sales, it makes a difference. So you don't want to look like oh, what's that?
Which one was this one?
Trend graphics.
So just before sale versus sold? Yours looks
Yeah.
Does that allow you to export? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that was not, that's just clicking on trends on the navigation bar. And then it was simply this category right here.
Oh,
It drops down, there's a bunch of different stuff, okay?
Okay.
Sold, pended, and I could show numbers, you could look however you want, okay?
got it.
And then show the chart, so. This is for the entire MLS, which that's ridiculous. It's like 13 counties or something, like I don't look at that. That doesn't mean anything to me. But yeah, there's a lot of powerful stats. If you're ever doing just something on Reels, then just, and you wanted to talk about what was happening in 2021, like, can I show you, am I geeking out too much?
No.
Okay,
You're giving me real ideas. Look at all these.
Okay.
real ideas. Keep going.
okay, let's look at a neighborhood. Let's look at 95747.
Yeah, it's like I got another listing there.
I live there.
Okay, so let's just say we want to do a quick stat. We're not trying to win an award. We just want to drop some knowledge. Okay, I'm doing a standard search and I'm going to go to 95747. Come on, why does that thing keep popping up? Okay, let's just see. Let's make sure that there's enough data to be meaningful. Okay, why did that not pop
I
up?
think you
got
got
it in
the
the
wrong
wrong
thing
place.
down below.
Oh, see. Thank you guys. Oh, that would be the problem.
The common.
There we go. And one of the hard parts, if there's not enough data, be super careful about prices. Dude, what is going on? Okay.
Yeah, well, the counties.
Oh, the counties, maybe you got it.
No. It's okay if all the counties,
Oh,
Because you're
Yeah.
specifying
Yeah.
this.
it'll like show anything in that county. Okay, so what I want to do, let's look at 95747 and say we want to make a reel or just push out a stat that no one else is sharing. And let's look at cumulative days on market in November, 13 days in November 2021. And then here's the median. The median is 8. So 13 days average and median 8. Okay, the median means half the market sold in 8 or fewer days. Like it's insane to have a number that low. It's actually hard to do statistically. A lot of properties were selling in 1 to 2 days. But then when we look, what do we think it's going to be today? What do you think?
I have a couple of listings in the neighborhood. I'm watching them. They're sitting there for like over
I'm gonna
60,
say,
90
I'm gonna
days.
say 30 days average on market probably.
Probably more, 48.
So I just ran the search one more time for 2024 November. Remember,
48.
same pieces, 44 days average
There you go.
and 23 median. And so like the market has almost tripled with the average, but the median, what was it before? 8 days? And now it's 23?
Median was 813.
Okay. So it's basically, we can almost say it's taking about 3 times as long to sell. But today the median represents half the market. Okay. And so I would say, you know what fast looks like today in the zip code? 23 days or less. That's fast. It used to be 8 days and we would be like, what's wrong with this property if it's not selling in the first weekend? But fast today is different and it's relative. And so I think that's what we have to communicate. And I would love to see more stats like that. I would be really hesitant though to look in November with only, how many sales, 80 sales, the median price, average price, those stats are going to like bounce around like crazy. It's going to be manic. If you report on that stuff in neighborhoods, like that's where it's really tough. And so even Placer, if there's 300 or 400 sales a month, sometimes it's a little like wonky. So let me see, but I don't know, you can report on anything, the size of homes, lot size, like you start to compare and contrast, you're like, is there anything here, or maybe you look at some of my data or some of the narratives that I'm pushing out, you're like, what does that look like locally? Then start talking about that stuff. If you'll start to capture you get some passion and be like, I need to figure out how to tell this. Okay. I lose sleep over stuff like this because I'm like, I've got to figure this out. Like the question, notice of defaults. Or an agent just called me this morning and was like, where should I pull comps for this property in Diamond Springs? Or excuse me, is that what it's called? Diamond Springs? I don't appraise there. In El Dorado County.
Sales and best.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I gave her some tips, but one of the things that we were talking about is like, how long is it taking properties to sell in Diamond Springs? And that's where it's like, we want to export our data, be like, is it a concern if you're on the market for 90 days? Okay. Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Maybe we should be really concerned in some price ranges if the data is going like, wow, almost the entire market's going in less than 30 days. I've got a big problem if I'm longer. Okay. Unless you're the $3 million house that's going to take longer to sell. Okay.
One of those two.
Yeah, which is probably overpriced, right? Good. The good stuff goes quickly, but the higher the price, the longer it takes to sell. I have really cool visuals to show that. If we look at the condo market, I'm not trying to rag on the condo market at all, but I pushed out some data this week and we're seeing some real differences. That if you have a condo listing, it's like, share that post with your seller. What you're starting to see happen is condo prices spike. Not prices, condo supply spike a lot faster than the rest of the detached market. And so we're seeing a disconnect with that segment of the market. It's a different temperature than the rest of it. It would be interesting to actually run some condo stats and different developments and where you can be like, hey, look, these properties are severely overpriced. Here are the ones that are actually moving. This is your market right here. So any other questions or stuff that we can look at? I'm down to be here for a bit. I know everyone's been here for a while. Anything last minute to close this sucker up?
Curious about Trend Graphics. Does it do an export so you can format it your own way?
It doesn't. But what you can do on Trend Graphics, if you want, you can pull this up. I recommend if you use their data, just tell people on the graph where you got the data. Say you're on Placer County and you're reporting on new listings. You can go back 15 years and you can make this awesome graph if you want, but yeah, you can, there is a data to use. I wish there was an export. That would be incredible. One other thing, I wanted to show you if I haven't exhausted your, time here, let me just look at Arden Manor. And what if I wanted to, okay, hang on. Is there another neighborhood selected here? No, there's not. One of the things that might help sometimes if you have an overpriced seller is to just look at all the data and say I've got here, I've got sales since 2012. Like that's a long time, right? But what I can do is I can export all of that with the export that we just set up. And I go down here, Johnny is sexy. Where is that? Oh, there it is. Okay. And we're going to go through this process. I do this on every appraisal. I can't do a value without some sort of stats like this or visual. I feel naked otherwise. Okay. What I want to do though, I want to highlight close date and original price, or excuse me, close date and then close price. Oh, come on. Close date. I'm going to push control, close price. I go to insert. This type of chart. And so do we see price movement from 2012 onward? Now, I need to like adjust this axis, but sometimes if a seller's like, I want to get 900,000, you can say literally there's never been a sale that high. You could take this back to 1998 if you want to also. But if your value is coming in right here, then that's also like, maybe that's a clue that I'm too low. If your value's coming in up here, maybe it's like, maybe I shouldn't be choosing comps from across the street. And so I feel like sometimes what it does is it helps people set a high and low. Or if you're like, I've got the 1081 square foot model, there's so many model matches here, you could do a graph like this for just that model. There's ways where I can put that on here too and have there's some really cool stuff you can do. But I find that that's sometimes helpful, like in Rosemont, where if you ran some stats for just a certain size of property on this, like, then, it's hard to argue with.
Yeah.
Your property is how big in Rosemont?
I believe it is like the 1029 or 39, somewhere around there.
1029,
I think it's like
1039?
1029, 1039, yeah.
That extra plus, it's gonna make all the difference, right?
Oh,
That
yeah.
little half bath,
Big
Like,
money,
listen.
man. Super big money. Why is it bringing up College Glen? Oh, no, that is Rosemont. Hey, what's the matter with me? On the map search, you can export about 2,000 data points at one time. What did you say, 1029?
Yeah, I believe square feet.
Okay, so let's go let's just see what happens when we go, 950 to 1150 square feet. That might be too tight, but maybe let's do just a little bit. No, that's fine. It just depends.
I missed it. Did you draw the polygram out? Or did it-
Okay, I have this as a saved search already.
Okay.
I never have to draw Rosemont ever
Yeah.
because it's a saved search. I have Arden Manor as a saved search. So you draw the polygon once, you go up to MLS, you click save right there. See that? That's your friend. Save it, call it whatever you want. So I never have to draw these neighborhoods again, right? So the trick is like, you got to get the boundaries right. And what I find in today's market, sometimes you're in an area and I'm looking at that area, I'm going, man, there's not enough sales. So I'll draw another little polygon right next to it and go, what's happening there? Another one, what's happening there? Because I'm going like, I need some context. And then how do these compare over time? Like, oh, it looks like this area sells for more.
Like right next to like Rosemont, if they build south of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, so let's see here. So if I was here, whatever parameters I chose, this might be too tight, 950 to 1150 square feet. But again, it's like export that. I'm going to save that. The search that we just made. Come on, baby, open up.
With the export quick has your specific.
Yeah, oops, I actually,
Specific.
I did the wrong export. Let me see. I'm going to go back. Okay. And so I called it something else. I have a bunch of different exports. Like if I'm looking at land or like HOA fees, assumable loans, like I have all this stuff.
Cool.
It's really, because I just want MLS to work for me. Okay. I'm a paying subscriber, guys. But then I click on this, say in row, I'm going to highlight close date, and then I'm going to push control, close price, go to insert, and then charts. Okay. And so this has a bunch of years, but we probably want to zoom in a little bit. And I hate when it's just the date there. Let's see. Okay, but do we see how recently it's like, she says 450. That looks like the top of the market besides this outlier at 492. And it looks like the bottom is just what that other graph showed. It looks like there's a tight range somewhere between 420 and 450, but like, I think your seller's got to see that. The only problem is that your seller is going to look at this one. They're going to be like, but I see that one.
I know, right?
And so,
Exactly.
some graphs might not work, but I don't know. It's like we put this together. We're like, does this make any sense? Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. I don't know if I would use this or not, but other interesting thing, this isn't that much data, but do we see how the market peaked in 2022?
Mhm.
Did you see how it's gone down? And
Yeah.
it's been kind of flat. This probably isn't enough data, but in neighborhoods, you can do a quick neighborhood graph like this, and you see a peak in 2022. It went down, came back up a little bit, and you can kind of see a really flat vibe in a lot of neighborhoods right now. I had published some stats on my blog this week. I made graphs just like this, and in a couple condo markets, you know what you see? Declining.
I love that. I have to find one today
Yeah.
for one of my
Okay.
investors.
But that's where
Totally.
like, where we use these and we're like, oh, okay, here's what's going on. So anyway. Yeah, except for the uncertainty of HOA fees,
Oh,
right? That's
God. The
that-
death of us with HOAs.
that is tough.
I know. Well, it's okay.
Yeah,
Their rentals in the Bay Area average 2 million, so.
yeah.
I think they're not gonna
They'll be
cheap.
okay.
I'm like,
Yeah.
this is all you get.
But anyway, guys, thanks for being here. I hope that was helpful.
That was
Appreciate it.
incredible.
Thank you. At
So-
first I was like, oh man, this is gonna be tough. When I was like, Johnny, like, did anyone bring a laptop? And everyone's like, there's, oh no, it's okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. But I was like, oh no, getting all, and then, but we weeded out and I think we got it done, with
Nice
that.
to
So,
get the hands on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was so helpful.
Appreciate your time.
Do you-
Yeah, it was incredible.
Do you know if MLS teaches any of the detail classes? Cause I took some with them and they don't really teach.
They don't
all
teach this.
They don't.
They don't.
Yeah, I took some with them and they don't go into.
Yeah.
Teach
Cause I-
basics.
Can we maybe do like a,
Maybe.
maybe, could we do like a round two where we just like, I like it to be just agents in a room like this where maybe only agents, like let's sit down and look at 5 neighborhoods or something.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
pick a Whitney, like areas that
Yeah.
everyone is constantly working in a Whitney. range.
Yeah. Cause this is more like, yeah, I think it worked, but like at first I was like, oh no.
And let us know like the time frame, because I mean, this went to 2 hours today.
Yeah,
Which was
yeah.
like, okay, but if we knew that we're like, we'd walk out in 2 hours, that would be awesome. So.
It was.